straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams.
Hi, you're watching Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started then. On the show today, Indian men's cricket captain Rohit Sharma and selector Ajit Agarkar addressed the press last evening. We get you some of the best excerpts from that interaction. How did they field some of the curious queries on the team that is set to go for the T20 World Cup? We bring you some of the bits from that. But switching focus to chess, is India the new king on the board? Overturning the old world order, are teenagers leading the charge against China, Russia and the USA? I'll tell you more in just a bit. And what's the latest cause for concern set to hit Paris Olympics? Ukraine versus Russia is already a very intense affair, but now a special advisory sent out by Ukraine's ministry is a clear diktat that is ought to only escalate the tensions between the two countries. But can the Olympics handle it? But first, let's look at all the headlines on Sports 360. We'll start with cricket. In India's T20 League, Hyderabad secured a nervy one-run win over Rajasthan. Travis Head and Nitish Reddy's half-centuries helped Hyderabad post 201. But the bowlers then, led by Bhuvneshwar Kumar, snapped up 3 wickets during Rajasthan's run chase to seal the game in the hosts' favour. Over in football, in the Europa League, Bundesliga champions Bayer Leverkusen beat AS Roma 2-0 in the first leg of the semi-final. Goals from Florian Wirtz and Robert Andrich in each halves put Leverkusen in front. The two sides will face each other on the 9th of May in the second leg. Over in tennis, Carlos Alcaraz has withdrawn from the Italian Open due to a muscle injury. Alcaraz on his social media said he wasn't really fit and ready for the Madrid Open when he wasn't really fit. In fact, he lost in the quarterfinals at the Madrid Open. Earlier this year, Alcaraz had to withdraw from Barcelona Open as well as the Monte Carlo Masters due to a forehand injury. Over in the NBA, New York Knicks beat Philadelphia's 76ers 118-115 in NBA's first-round playoffs. Jalen Brunson led the Knicks with 41 points and 12 assists. With this victory, Knicks have secured the series 4-2 and have qualified for the second round. Knicks will face Indiana Pacers in the next round. And in badminton, India's title defense at the Thomas Cup ended in the quarterfinals. The men's team was defeated by host China 3-1. Top Indian shuttler Lakshya Sen recorded the only win. Curtains came down on the Indian women's shuttlers as well. India were knocked out of the Uber Cup quarterfinals by Japan. The Indian men's cricket squad is gearing up for the T20 World Cup. That's a month from now. In fact, skipper Rohit Sharma and chief selector Ajit Agarkar addressed the press last night. They were bombarded with the obvious questions around the selection and form of their vice-captain Hardik Pandya. Why have the board and captain shortchanged someone like Rinku Singh, the youngster who's performed really consistently for the national side in the past? Why pick 4 spinners even if 2 of them can bat deep? And what are their thoughts on Virat Kohli coming under the scanner? Listen in to how both countered the scrutinizing questions from the media.
About Virat Kohli's strike rate, I don't think we've been discussing it yet. So, no, look, he's been in great form, fortunately in the IPL, so no concerns there at all. With regards to how it's going in the IPL, you're still going to a World Cup. It's still international cricket. There is still that gap there. So you've got to prepare knowing that there is that gap there, and that's where experience does matter a lot. So, no, I mean, if the tournament turns out to be like how the IPL is, where 220 plays 220, I think we've still got enough in the team, the balance or the power that you can match that. So no, there's no real point overthinking. You look at to try and take the positives that are happening in the IPL, form of some of the guys, some of the newer guys coming through, those things. But at the end of the day, when you turn up for a World Cup game, the pressures are a little bit different. Yeah, I mean, look, KL's a terrific player. We all know that. The thing we were obviously looking at is guys who bat in the middle. At the moment, KL's batting at the top. Rishabh. not opening the innings. We feel Sanju has the ability to come down the order if need be. Rishabh's batting at 5 for Delhi. That was more the thinking. It wasn't whether KL's better or these guys are better. It's about the slots that we needed, and we felt these two are better equipped at this point, or have spent a bit more time towards the latter part of the innings, which might be needed in the World Cup.
How big a concern is Hardik Pandya's form? Given his form, was any change in the vice-captaincy discussed with him?
Not really. No, nothing discussed with regards to vice-captaincy. That's one answer. Form, I mean, you want all guys to be in good form. I think he's come after a longish layoff. The good part that we've looked at is he's gotten through all the games so far for MI. And we've got another month and a little bit till we play our first game. So we know he's doing that, and the hope is that he keeps building on that form. So as long as he stays fit, we know what he brings, how much balance he gives the team. I don't think there's a replacement for the things that he can do as a cricketer at the moment, especially when it comes to the way he bowls. Really gives balance. I think he'll give Rohit options to play different combinations. So his fitness for us is critical, and so far, fortunately, he's gone okay in this IPL.
I was captain, and then I'll
Being captain?
and not being captain, and then again captain.
Yeah.
It's part of life. Not everything will go your way. So it's been a great experience. Before in my life as well, I have not been captain and played under a lot of captains. So it is no different to me. It is nothing new to me. Whatever is there, and then you go by it, and then try and do what is required from you as a player. And I have only tried to do that in the last month or so.
I know Hardik led a few series before that, but Rohit's form in the World Cup, coupled with how much time we have.
And same with Hardik as well. He's been bowling regularly in IPL. Whenever it's been required, he's come and bowled. Like Ajit said, he's played all games. So fitness-wise, there's no issue.
My question is, how tough it was to, not to pick a player like Rinku Singh, because everybody thought he could be the man who can make difference, especially low down the order.
Yeah, it's probably the toughest thing that we've had to discuss, frankly. I mean, he's done nothing wrong, nor has Shubman Gill for that matter. It's again the combinations. Like Rohit said, we're not quite sure what conditions we'll get. So we wanted to try and have enough options. There are a couple of wrist spinners that were included in the squad, Chahal and Kuldeep, to give Rohit more options. Akshar again, a batting all-rounder, or bowling all-rounder rather. Yeah, it's just unfortunate. I don't think it's anything to do with Rinku Singh. It's not his fault that he's missed out. It's more the 15 that we felt gives, with two keepers who are both terrific batters, there's already an extra batter sitting out, whoever doesn't play. So we just thought to have another bowling option might be handy going forward in the tournament. He's still one of the travelling subs. That's how close he was. It's a little bit tough on him. But at the end of the day, you can only pick 15.
I don't want to go too much detail on it, because I'm sure all the opposition captains will be listening to this. So I'll give you a very short answer to this. I definitely wanted 4 spinners. We played a lot of cricket there. We know what the conditions are like. The match starts at probably 10 o'clock in the morning, 10:30. So yeah, there's a little bit of technical aspect involved in this. Maybe in the first press conference when I do in West Indies, I'll give more detail on this, because actually the reason for 4 spinners is actually this, which I'm not going to say in public now. I won't say it now, but I'll definitely say it there. What is the reason behind it? But I wanted 4 spinners for sure, and 3 seamers, and Hardik being the 4th one. So you get that balance of seamers as well, and then the spinners as well. And obviously, with 2 spinners being all-rounders, can bat, Akshar and Jaddu, and then the 2 attacking spinner, Kuldeep and Chahal, gives you a little bit of balance in your spin department as well. So again, like I said just now, based on the opposition composition, we can decide what to play with. There is a good chance Kuldeep and Chahal can play together. There's a good chance both left-arm spinner can play along with Kuldeep, or Kuldeep may not play, Chahal may not play. So all sorts of things are possible. Like Ajit said rightly, we started talking about what the combination will look like, what will be our playing 11, what the pitches are in West Indies. You sort of make your playing 11 in your mind and, try and work around it and look at the players that can fill that role, particular role that we are looking at. So a lot of the prep, the talk, and the guys playing games, happens during the IPL, and then plus a lot of these guys have been playing this format for a while now. So it's not like there's anyone new in this particular format. They all have been playing international cricket as well, and they've been playing IPL. So, the talk of what our 15 is going to be like started much before IPL started. It is just few spots, few individuals that we had to sort of look into during IPL, because IPL, the performances changes every day. Anyone will come and score 100, someone will get a 5 wicket, so you can't really change your planning and mindset around it. But yeah, like I said, we had clarity on what our core group is going to be like, 70-80% of the squad, and then few changes if we had to make or need to pick someone, we were prepared for that as well.
The biggest story last month that shook the world, in Grandmaster Garry Kasparov's words, an Indian earthquake in Toronto, is of course Gukesh. But the tremors of that win was felt everywhere. It was 17 on the Richter scale, the world over, when the teenager D Gukesh claimed the candidate's trophy. A massive win for chess, for tenacity and that never-dying spirit, particularly when you were not even touted to come close to the top. That win signified a couple of things. That this year belongs to the youngsters, the teenagers who are rewriting record books, rewriting the rules of every sport, making us here reimagine what was impossible earlier. And the result is limitless. That's what the Gukesh win displayed. Here's what else it said: that chess is now a domain that is going to be dominated by India. Garry Kasparov so much as only indicated that.
The Indian earthquake in Toronto is the culmination of the shifting tectonic plates in the chess world, as the 17-year-old Gukesh D will face the Chinese champion Ding Liren for the highest title.
And India's Gukesh is leading the charge in this tectonic shift. The tectonic shift when it comes to ruling the chess world. I'll tell you how I can substantiate that, and there's more than only Gukesh. Just yesterday, women chess player R Vaishali, Praggnanandhaa's sister, became a Grandmaster. Vaishali became India's 84th and only the 3rd female in the country to turn into a Grandmaster. The brother-sister duo have now become the first sibling pair to become Grandmasters in the sport. That's incredible for India and the sport. The sport that was born in the country, that traveled the world over from India, that the West mastered over the last many decades, is finally recognizing the true heir to the throne. And the kings and queens who are making this possible are youngsters in their teens and 20s, getting the world to realize where the true power of chess now rests. From a lone trailblazer in Viswanathan Anand some time ago to a horde of challengers and contenders to the throne, India is on the rise, breaking the domination of Russia, the United States of America and China. And the change has not been overnight, not been over the last few months either. It's been a decade in the making. Up until 2010, there were only about 20 Grandmasters in the country. The number is now 84. A clear reflection of the giant progress India has made in this sport. But how has this been possible? While Viswanathan Anand's success paved the way for aspiring chess players across the country, it also started a strong belief system in the country. Athletes started looking at chess as a professional career, not just a game that you could play as a hobby. Even parents started backing their kids to take it up as a serious career, pushing them to take bold steps to take up a sport like chess seriously.
I stopped regular schooling when I was around 4th standard, I guess. I mean, obviously, at that time, I was too young to make this kind of decision. It was my parents' decision, but it was clearly based on the only fact that I enjoyed chess and I'm quite talented at it.
That was Gukesh when he spoke to us on what really clicked for him to make that transition, a leap of faith towards his passion. This was the change India experienced in the last few years. The identification of talent at a young age and the nurturing of it at all cost. Gukesh isn't the only one to have done that. In recent times, we've seen the emergence of several young prodigies. Just take a look at some of the brightest prospects in India alone. Gukesh is 17 years old. R Praggnanandhaa is 18 and world number 8, Arjun Erigesi, is 18. These are teenagers challenging the world order, challenging the senior hands who've been sitting on years of experience and wisdom. While some of the big powers like the USA, China and Russia have all experienced candidates as their top 3, the average age of the top-ranked players in these countries is between 28 and 33. Just look at India's average age of top 3 in the world and top 3 talents in India. It's 18. The average age is 18. And guess what? This is key because a Grandmaster, world champion and world number 1, Magnus Carlsen, when he spoke just a while back about this very thing, being critical in determining the talent and how long a player can go.
It's usually a staple of some of the greatest players ever that they sort of succeed at the highest level a little bit. They obviously show promise at an early age, but then they succeed at the highest level a little bit before people generally expect them to.
What he's saying is there are certain players, key players, who show a lot of promise at the world stage when they're young, and you know for sure that they will go the distance, like the Indian stars that we are speaking about. And this is at the core to India's ascension to the throne, the chess throne, the reason behind India's triumph at the world stage. But it's not just the youngsters alone. Let's not forget the likes of Vidit Gujrati, who made it to the candidates top 8. Koneru Hampi, who finished top 3 in the women's draw. They have been around for a little longer, yes, but they are equally responsible in shepherding this new era. They are the middle guys who have now opened doors to the fearless young brigade, for whom there is nothing more exciting than a daunting challenge on the chessboard. India is slowly and steadily checkmating the world. Paris Olympics is already mired in many controversies, and organizers and authorities are busy firefighting on various counts, from terror threats, environmental concerns, safety issues, the opening ceremony venue itself, the River Seine events, to name just a few. And amid all this, political tensions are also on the rise. The tenuous ties between Ukraine and Russia is a serious concern that is threatening to disrupt the functioning of the Olympics. In a move that can only further heighten the already tense geopolitical relationship, Ukrainian athletes have been sent a strict diktat, an advisory on how to behave with their counterparts from Russia and Belarus at the Games. The special advisory has been sent ahead of the Games. It's a directive that comes from not only the Olympic chiefs of Ukraine, but also the sports ministry. Here's a report. Political ties between Russia and Ukraine have been strained for years now. In the latest turn of events post the war, authorities in Ukraine have sent an advisory to their athletes who are set to participate in the Paris Olympics. A key order in the advisory is to avoid any communication of any kind with the Russian and Belarusian athletes. They are not to engage in conversations, interact, shake hands, or make any gesture towards the Russian athletes in particular, whether it's inside the Games village or during the matches. Ukraine's sports ministry has made the advisory sound like a call to action. They've encouraged their athletes to observe Russian athletes and report any violations of neutrality requirements. It's like keeping tabs on the enemy. This, of course, comes at the back of a severe backlash over Russian and Belarusian athletes being allowed to participate in the Games. While matters between Russia and Ukraine continue to escalate on the borders, the International Olympic Committee, or the IOC, are desperately trying to keep the peace in the Games. Despite all the criticism, the IOC had earlier taken the decision to allow Russians to participate, but under a neutral flag. Their medals won't be counted, nor would they be present during the opening ceremony. That comes as a big blow. But Ukraine, one of the major protesters to this IOC decision, has urged its athletes to keep an eye on their neighbors. It almost feels like war. This is only bound to create more friction between the two nations. The biggest sporting platform has often been used as a stage for political statements and threats. We've seen numerous instances in the past where political conflicts have played out on the Olympic stage, from boycotts to protests to controversial gestures. The 1956 Olympics in particular was boycott central. Many Western countries boycotted the Games because of Soviet Union's invasion in Hungary. China boycotted because of Taiwan's participation, a country that Beijing considered was illegal political entity. And the Arab nations of Egypt, Iraq and Lebanon boycotted over the joint British-Israel-French invasion of the Suez Canal. Ukraine too had threatened to boycott the Games after IOC allowed Russians and Belarusian athletes to participate. But ever since that decision, tensions have only risen. With the Games less than 90 days away, the standoff between Russia and Ukraine is set to take center stage once again. The recommendations by the Ukrainian Sports Ministry also say that the Ukrainian athletes must avoid sharing photos or videos with Russian or Belarusian athletes. The anger and dissent is just as deeply ingrained in athletes as it is in political leaders. Last year, Olga Karlin, a Ukrainian fencer, refused to shake hands with Russia's Anna Smirnova. Despite Karlin winning the match, the International Fencing Federation disqualified Karlin and advanced Smirnova to the next round. Karlin wasn't worried about the result. For her, showing disrespect towards the opponent was more paramount. In another incident the same year, Ukrainian athlete Ivan Chuprinko refused to shake hands with his Iranian rival Amir Rizeh Mesfaroush. This was at a medal ceremony in a World Championship event. Chuprinko's dissent was in protest to Iran supplying arms to Russia. At the 2023 Australian Open, Lysya Surenko refused to shake hands after her fourth-round match against Belarus's Aryna Sabalenka. And not just at the Australian Open, the chapter continued in other competitions too. Ukraine's Anhelina Kalinina refused to shake hands with Veronika Kudermetova, her Russian opponent in the 2023 Rome Masters. Former world number 3 Ukrainian tennis player Elina Svitolina has time and again taken a stand against her Russian counterparts in this very matter. It started with the Ukrainian government that went to the meetings with the Russian government. They were against shaking hands because they're not sharing the same values, obviously, and what the Russians are doing to our country. We are Ukrainians, all united for one goal. I'm standing for my country, doing anything possible to support men and women who are right now in the front line, fighting for our land, our country. Can you imagine the guy or girl in the front line looking at me and I'm acting like nothing is happening? Given what has transpired in the past 1 year, the matter will not stop here. Ukraine's advisory is just the tipping point. Will Paris Olympics organizers be able to handle this at a larger scale? Because one misstep, a rude comment, or an ill-thought gesture could lead to something more catastrophic. And that's the last thing authorities want at a global event that stands for unity. Time for last serve. The Paris Olympics is just 90 days away. Teams are prepping for the mega event. The swimmers of a couple of the countries, Ukraine, France, are gearing up as well. Take a look. Everyone waits for that 100-meter dash, but it's synchronized swimming that really gets all of them impressed enough to watch it repeatedly. But that does it here on First Sports. Thank you for joining in. Have a great weekend. I'll see you again on Monday.